going to make a butternut tart with a honey chili glaze. Butternut. It's a delicious squash. This is going to be a good use for it. So instead of using the tart pan, we are going to use a springform pan, a 9-inch springform pan, just because I think we're going to be making quite a bit of squash and I don't want it to overflow a tart pan. So we'll start this by making our crust. And this is one of those super easy food processor crusts. I have 1 1/4 cups of gluten-free flour and a 1/2 teaspoon of salt and a 1/2 teaspoon of sugar.
Is that the right blade?
And it'll,
it's a choppy blade.
Yeah, it'll be fine. And to this, let me just mix all that for a second here. To this, I'm going to add 6 tablespoons of butter. Now, usually when you're making crusts, well, a lot of times you have these talking about using really cold butter and all that. This crust calls for room temperature butter, which is kind of handy. I just cut it into little pieces. I missed that one, and then I did get out a whole cube because we're going to use the other 2 tablespoons later. And then we're just going to zoom that up. And what you want to do now is get this mixed up enough so that you really don't have big chunks of butter. And that doesn't take long. And then our last ingredient for this, how's that doing? Yeah, that looks pretty good, is 1 egg. Going to make Kelly's eggs odd again.
Oh no.
And we'll get this going together. You can see it. There we go. No ball. No, it wasn't that easy.
It was easy.
That's a super easy way to make a crust. I got butter all over my fingers. So we're just going to, this kind of crust works because we're not trying to roll it out or anything. We're just going to press it into our springform pan. Okay. So we're going to put this in our greased 9-inch springform pan. And the idea here is that we're going to spread it out thinly across the bottom and then up the sides about 1 inch. And we may have a little more dough than that. We can go up the sides as far as we need to because we can always break it off later if it looks dumb. But it might look good. It might look rustic, which is sometimes the goal with a tart.
Your hand's kind of big for that job.
It is. I like the
Try to get in there and be flat.
10-inch springform pan a little better. And if you make holes in the bottom like I'm kind of doing here, it's really easy when you're doing dough like this to go back and fill them in. Just slide some more dough over them. Okay, so got the bottom. I'm getting the sides. Got a little extra over here and a little not enough over here, so you just you can glue this stuff to itself, so. All right, there we go. I think that's pretty good. Trying to make an edge here so when we pull off the pan, it doesn't all just crumble away, which, you know, is always a possibility. All right, so there we go. Now this is gonna go sit in the refrigerator for at least a half an hour and possibly a little bit longer. And you know, you gotta plan this one ahead because this needs to refrigerate, and you also have almost 2 hours of baking time on this tart. So there you have it. Okay, so to prepare the butternut, I cut the ends off, or peeled it first, cut the ends off, cut it in half, and then thinly sliced these little half moons down the whole length of it. This is a lot of squash. This was about a 2.5 pound butternut. So, and then I have my other 2 tablespoons of butter and 2 teaspoons of freshly chopped sage. To that, I'm going to add a tablespoon of honey. And messy stuff. And a half teaspoon of salt. I'm going to put this in the microwave and just to get it melted. And then I'm going to put it on my squash and let it sit for a while. Okay, so I melted butter. Pour this on. Looks like I can wipe this out with a piece of squash. Sure. And then mix, mix, mix. And this is the flavor of our tarts. So this and cheese, of course. So we really want to make sure it's in there. Okay, I'm happy with that. I'm going to let that sit for a little while and come back and assemble our tart. All right, so we're ready to assemble our tart. I have my Gruyere, which I've cut into very small cubes. That's about 6 ounces of Gruyere. So first off, we are going to use a 1/4 cup of breadcrumbs. In this case, what we're going to use is gluten-free Panko. Gluten-free Panko.
Happy to find those.
And then we're going to add to that a 1/4 cup of grated Parmesan. And really, you do want the grated here. And this is going to go in the bottom of our tart. Okay. And I'm going to mix those together a little. And then I'm just going to scatter this over the crust.
I forget, when you mixed up the crust, did you mention that we use the gluten-free flour? I'm not sure that you did.
I'm not sure I did, but since we're making a gluten-free tart, that
Yeah.
would be very
It would
important.
start with that.
So then we are going to scatter 1/3 of our cheese into this. And to this, we're going to add just a little bit of grated mozzarella. Make sure we've got enough cheese going on here.
Looks like a lot of cheese.
It does, but we have a lot of butternut. All right, so now we are going to make a layer of butternut. And what we're after here is a pretty solid layer, so we'll break pieces off to fill in holes. I think. Looks like I could have used the 10-inch Tart pan. Stuff just doesn't break as easy as you'd think it would. All right, and then I might have made these pretty thin, so I'm gonna go ahead and beef this up a little bit because I don't think it's using enough. Okay, then we're gonna go over top of that with another layer of cheese. Yeah, that's probably good. And then I'm gonna go the mozzarella. And now we want another layer of our butternut. And lastly, passing my crust here. Lastly, we put on the last of our cheese. And then we'll preheat our oven to 375 and cook this for a long time. And this is going to cook for maybe even as long as an hour and 50 minutes. So I'm going to loosely cover this with foil to keep the crust from cooking too much. And yeah. Gooey now. This will look good on the top, all cheesied up. Okay, so there you have it. Our tart is ready to bake. You want to make sure that you cook your tart on a cookie sheet because some oil can leak out pretty easily, and I just have it loosely covered to protect the crust. All right, so while our tart is cooking, we can make our chili honey glaze. I have here 2 tablespoons of honey, and I'm going to add a half a teaspoon of crushed red pepper flakes and 2 teaspoons of white wine vinegar. And this is our glaze, and we're going to cook this for 30 seconds in the microwave. that will be our glaze. Okay, this looks done. It's really pretty juicy. Look at that though. It's party.
Yeah.
Well, that just came right off. It worked out really nicely. It's hot. Okay, so we put this on a taller bowl so that I can get underneath the tart itself and get it onto a cake plate. So now, oh come on, there we go. Now, isn't that beautiful?
Ah.
And now we're going to take our chili honey drizzle and put it in the microwave for 30 seconds. I can put a plate on it, probably. So there's plastic. Okay, so our glaze is nice and melty. We're just going to pour this over the top. And part of the reason for being in the microwave that long is to get the chili to infuse into it. And I don't think I'm gonna put more than that on there because I'm afraid it's just gonna run off when we cut it. But we have some lovely decorations for our top.
Didn't get you enough?
Well, no, I'm just trying to figure out. Spread them out, do it all in one place.
That's marigold petals, some calendula petals.
Because you know, we want pretty food. And then, got some chive flowers. Some sage flowers would be great, but sage isn't flowering right now.
It's like confetti.
Okay. All right, so this baby came out beautiful, and let's just see what it tastes like. Ooh, cheesy. That's really good. The Gruyere, you know, has got a really nice flavor. It's got a little bit of a pumpkin pie, but not super sweet or anything, but the honey glaze helps. I wouldn't mind if the glaze was a little bit spicier, but it'll be good. So there you have it, butternut tart with chili honey glaze. Oh, subscribe, hit that button down there, subscribe. Thanks for watching Two Cooks in the Kitchen. This recipe will be on our website eventually, and we'll see you next time.